Word spread in Europe of a horrific disease spreading in the Far East. This disease is now known as the Bubonic Plague, or the Black Death. The bubonic plague attacks the lymphatic system, swelling the lymph nodes. Without the proper medical care, this infection can spread to the lungs or blood. Symptoms of this plague start with swelling of the armpits or groin. These bumps eventually form the welts of pus and blood the Black Death is known for. Accompanying these bumps is fever, chills, diarrhea, vomiting, achy pains, and in most cases in medieval Europe, death. Since humanity didn't have anywhere near the medical advancements in society we have today, the Black Death spread like wildfire. The disease strikes quick if untreated. People could feel perfectly healthy one day, and be found lifeless and cold the next. The bubonic plague spread through the air, but also through the bites of animals like rats and fleas, which left the cities of Europe very vulnerable to spreading the disease if it arrives. Sometime in October 1347, the plague by the Silk Road to the Sicilian port city of Messina. It wasn't unlikely to have tons of rats from the Black Sea at this time, so they're now known as the death god on the people on the ship, and it spread something terrible. From Messina, almost every sailor aboard the Italian peninsula to Roman Florence. They were extremely ill and covered in black oil. At the heart of Europe's various ordered out of the port quickly. Over the next year, the plague would reach many major French cities along with the large English city of London. Fate as those aboard the death saw the plague ravage the cities of Europe, so they fled to more rural areas, but even when away from the urban areas of Europe people weren't safe. The plague could spread easily to livestock and the animals would infect people just the same, which is one of the many things that helped the Black Death carry on for centuries. A thing that the Black Death has become famous for, is the plague doctors. The plague doctors typically helped people of the lower class. The reason why they wore those terrifying beak masks was due to a misconception about the plague. The whole outfit that these doctors wear is mainly credited to the physician, Charles de Lorme, who catered to many royals in Europe, such as King Louis XIII. These doctors often carried rods to fend off victims. These doctors wore the infamous beak mask to prevent inhaling the horrific smell of the infected, which was believed at the time to be how the disease spread. The treatment of the plague was very ineffective. Most of the medical knowledge of medieval Europeans came from the Roman physician Galen, the ancient Greek physician, Hippocrates, and the philosopher Aristotle. Folklore, obscure religious beliefs and herbalism also were used as medical practices. This left many of the treatments to be relatively archaic. The most ineffective of these treatments included bloodletting, which is the removal of large amounts of blood from the patient's body which was believed to expel diseases from their body, but in reality just hindered their body's ability to fight it off. Potions, fumigations, animal cures such as the Vicary method, which involves strapping of the plucked bare rear of a chicken to one of the patient's welts until the chicken becomes ill or until the patient died. This was believed to somehow draw the plague out of the patient and into the chicken. The chicken would be removed and washed, of course. Medieval Europeans were very serious about cleanliness, and probably the most ineffective, just like Europeans have always done, massacring thousands of Jewish people. Around 1352, the bubonic plague fizzled out a bit to where it wasn't much of an epidemic anymore. But since the Black Death did so well on its first world tour, the plague decided to go on 2 more major rampages of the world, up until sometime in the 1750s, when the disease wasn't near as much as a problem. With further medical improvements in society, the Black Death today is essentially harmless if treated with the right medications. There are still around 2,500 cases per year, mainly in Africa, South America, and the Indian Peninsula. But even in the lesser developed parts of the world, the Black Death is rarely fatal due to modern medicine. The first wave of the Black Death in Europe killed around 20 million people, which was a third of Europe's population. Worldwide it is estimated it has killed somewhere in between 75 million to 200 million people worldwide, which is around the death toll of both world wars combined, if not more. Even though most of the deaths from the Black Death occurred over 700 years ago, it still remains the deadliest pandemic in human history.